What up, friends? So it is that time of the month again. No, not that time of the month. It is time for the wrap-ups. So I'm a little late. It is now the 2nd, but hopefully I can get this uploaded on the 3rd. So I have quite a large wrap-up this month. I don't know what in the devil possessed me to be able to read so many books. But, So, for those of you who don't know or haven't been following along yet, April I chose to do a month of retellings, and that will clearly be evidenced in my wrap-up before we get to the TBR section. So firstly, I will start off with the books that I read in Kindle format in no particular order. Firstly, we'll go with Spindle Fire by Alexa Hilliard. Now this book I believe just came out in April or March, one of those. And I listened to the entire book on audiobook. It is a Sleeping Beauty retelling, kind of. It was enjoyable, but a lot of it dragged. I did not care for the fact that the POVs kept switching, like everybody and their mama got a point of view. That kind of annoyed the hell out of me, and it just made the story very soap opera-ish. Like, just when you're getting to an interesting part in the story, it switches to another character who's not doing jack shit yet. It's like the Kamehameha from hell. Like, how long is this commercial break? So I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. Then there was this beautiful, gorgeous thing. I love it. I love it. I love it. It is called Mask, and it is apparently book 2 in the Monarchy sequence, written by W.R. Gingell. Now this, I believe, is an indie publisher, a indie self-published author, and I got her book in the Kindle store. It is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and it is a thing of legends. It is an awesome book. So it's set in Victorian times, I believe. It's a little steampunkish, and it's kind of like Clue, whodunit. So Belle, who is not supposed to be nosing around this type of stuff, is the snarky, wise-ass, self-proclaimed old maid. She's like 28, I think, who is nosing around in this murder that she walked upon, and the captain of the guard, or the watchman, the captain of the watch, I believe, is our beast, and he has magic, and I can't even, like, I need to do a separate review for this book, but basically it's a Victorian era whodunit. And if you like Crimson Beauty because Nyx's like inner voice was so bitchy and snarky, you'll love this one, because she don't take no shit from anybody. But yeah, I will do a full review on that later. Then there was Geekarella, which is awesome, and I did do a full review on that. That was a 5-star read. I will let you check that out if you want to know more about what I thought about that. And there was also Gilded Ashes by Rosamund Hodge, which I did a review on as well. It is a book that is set in the Crimson Beauty universe, but this one was a Cinderella retelling. And there was also The Star-Touched Queen, which is kind of her Hades and Persephone retelling. And then there's some other fables and stories, like different cultures in there, that I did not recognize. But I did finish that in this month. I was only like 20% in it, so I counted it for the month of April since I picked it back up and finished it. And then lastly, I think the book that I read, the Kindle version, Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman. I had that in audiobook, I believe, at the beginning of the month, and it was amazeballs. I don't even want to read it like physically because his narration, Neil Gaiman narrated himself, and he has this voice that just lends perfectly to mythology retellings. This was an amazeballs story. So, first book on my pile here, and again, these are in no particular order, is Snow White, a graphic novel by Matt Phelan. I got this from my local library. It is a graphic retelling of Snow White, obviously, but it is set in the Great Depression era. It is like a film noir detective movie kind of a feel. It's a really quick read, but the only thing I didn't care for, even though the artwork is really beautiful, it's like charcoal and watercolor, and with it all black and white, and the words black and white, a lot of the times, you know, the line work is on charcoal art. A little, some of it is hard to tell the characters apart and what's going on. There's like 30 people in one frame, and the lines get a little blurred, but It was a pretty good book. I really liked it. Then we have Ella Enchanted by Gail Carson Levine. I should look that up at some point in life. I've recorded so many reviews for this month and keep deleting them because I cannot seem to do this book justice. This is a reread for me and a rebuy. I have a paperback version of this book that I had when I was a child when it first came out in the 90s. And since that is in my mom's storage unit, I bought this one again because I really wanted it. I bought it used, and then I found out, cool enough, that it is autographed in the back. My name's not Sarah, but that's okay. I don't care. I'll be Sarah. But this is a beautiful coming-of-age story about a girl who just refuses to be a pawn. She refuses to let her circumstances just make her give in or be a puppet. And she just, I love this book. I love this book. I still intend to do a review on it, so I don't want to get too much into it. I mean, not a review, a discussion, kind of. Or maybe just a gush. But it's, of course, I mean, it's a Cinderella retelling, and it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Definitely check that out. I feel like I say that all the time. Then there was this thing, which is Of Beast and Beauty by Stacey J. Now, this book I did a review on as well, and I will link that down below before I even get to bitching about why, like, it just frustrated me. I am going to go back and try to read it. I left my bookmarks in it, but it will take me a little while to get over that frustration. Maybe I'll try it again when I'm not burned out by retellings, but it just really frustrated the crap out of me. And there was this beauty, Hunted by Megan Spooner, which I won't get too much into that because I posted a review for that as well, and I will link all of these in the description box if you want to check them out. And there was Spindle by Shauna Slayton, which was a Sleeping Beauty retelling that took place in the industrial era, and it was amazing and beautiful, and yes, I did a review for that as well. I finished this bad boy, Daughter of the Forest by Juliet Marillion. This is book 1 in the Seven Waters trilogy. The writing in here, this one, is super tiny, and it took me forever to get through. But this is a book, like, I had to stop and pick it up again because the writing in this book is so gorgeous, but you can't miss anything or you will have no idea what the hell is going on, and you cannot miss anything in this book. It's one of it's like the book version of a movie that you can't watch when you're tired, or you'll just be like, wait, where did they come from? And it's amazing. But this book is a kick square in the emotional nuts. The entire book, like, will just wreak like claws all across your emotions from start to finish. But it is worth it. But you will cry and scream and be pissed off and be tempted to chuck it, but you don't want to harm it. But it just, oh, the feels. There was Crimson Bound by Rosamund Hodge, which is in the same universe, kind of, well, in the same universe, but not the same world as Cruel Beauty, if that makes any sense. This one is a Red Riding Hood retelling, and there are forest demons and demon fighting warriors, and it's crazy. It's a little dark, like all of her other retellings were, but it's not as dark as Gilded Ashes was. I like Gilded Ashes and Cruel Beauty a little better, but this is still a good read if you love snarky, bitchy heroines who don't take shit from anybody. Then there is this sucker that I am working on, American Gods by Neil Gaiman, which I started during Tome Topple right after I finished Daughter of the Forest, and you cannot pick up 2 heavy books at once. I don't know what I was thinking, or at least I can't. But I only got 94 or 96 pages into this one, and this fucker is 742 pages. I thought I was going to get it finished in time for the show to come out and me to review both at once. Yeah, okay. This book is Neil Gaiman describes it as meandering, and it is. It's kind of all over the place, and it just takes its time, and it just plots along. But if you've read a couple of big books already, at least I find that I can't do that back to back. Not the size, but just like the weight of the book, like of what's going on in the book. And then there was this Beauty of the Beast, this one. I I DNF'd this fucker like 30% of the way through. I gave it 1 star. I probably would have given it lower than that on Goodreads if I could have, but just everything about this book frustrated the hell out of me. Like, the world building, crapola. Okay, that's not constructive. The main thing was the characters, the characterization. Like this, I'll leave a link below so you can actually read my review, because I can't even. I'll start ranting. So then there were a couple of books I read in April that were not retellings because I needed a break. And most recently there was this one, The Nymph King by Gina Showalter. Fluff. Like, smutty fluff. This one was probably the most fluffy. It wasn't a horrible book. It was a decent read. I finished it, but plot was weird. It really was just an excuse to put lots of sex and nymph orgies in. Yeah. 3 out of 5 stars. Then, I read Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. Freaking finally. That was awesome. I am going to do a review for this book, so I'm not going to get too much into it now, but it was definitely a 5 out of 5 star read for me. Like, are you surprised? And there was Poison and Protect by Gail Carriger. This book is another one. I just seem to be one for snarky heroines this month. This one is another one. The main character was very snarky, very witty. She is, and it's set in okay. So it's part historical romance, it's part paranormal romance, it's part steampunk, and a little bit of mystery. Like, come on. The heroine is a female assassin, and it's set in this world with vampires, werewolves. I can't even make sense. Just, it's amazeballs. It's amazeballs. I loved it. And I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. And then, lastly, I finally read a Brandon Sanderson book, and that was Steelheart. It was just action-packed, non-stop, from start to finish. It was like this kind of it dealt a little bit with like the Superman culture, and yeah, I say culture because I don't mean like literally Superman, but how in like a lot of these dystopian societies where people just expect, like, they're just waiting on this person to come save them. And this book kind of deals with that, and then what happens when that person's not who you think they are. There are these epics which are humans that have supernatural powers, but instead of being like a Marvel Universe kind of a deal, like the epics are these horrible people that just basically take over and do whatever the hell they want. And then you have the Reckoners, which is like this little rebel army that is just taking down like the ones they can get their hands on in an effort to just take down the big bad, which is Steelheart, who is like infallible to everything. It was full of all kind of twists and turns that you really didn't see coming, and it's amazeballs. And if this is not even one of everybody's favorites of Brandon Sanderson's, I am in for have my mind blown apparently, because I do have the Mistborn series. I just haven't read it yet. But that's all I have for this vid, guys. Thanks for watching. Follow me on Twitter at OffbeatLauren, and the Instagrams at OffbeatLauren, and the Goodreads at Offbeat Book Digest, or not, but goodreads.com/Offbeat Book Digest, and you can see my rant and raving and whatnot as I finish books and emotionally go through things, and I have to wait for me to record them and edit them and post them. By then I forgot stuff. But yes, that's all I have for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Ciao.